In a small clearing, not very far from where the first shots of the American Revolution were fired, a detachment of U.S. Army Reserve soldiers gather in a circle, their heads bowed, as they read the names of the Massachusetts service members who died since 9/11.
Lieutenant Scott F. Milley, Sergeant First Class Jared C. Monty.
Jared Monty, who won the Medal of Honor posthumously, his dad, Paul, taught at Stoughton High School, was one of my teachers. And Mr. Monty was an easygoing, happy-go-lucky guy. And now, every now and then, you see Mr. Monty at events because his son not only was killed, but I believe was his only child.
We read the list of every KIA soldier from every hometown in Massachusetts since Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom here today. And it was solemn and somber and moving and very real. I think it's an honor for us to participate in that remembrance, if you will, of all those that have gone before us. And to show that we're grateful for their sacrifice and that their memory is not temporary by any means. It is cemented into our memories. And we do this annually. I think it's important to the soldiers here in the 3rd LOD because we were friends and still talk to the family members of these men and women on this list. Guys in our unit went to high school with these folks and friends with their kids and still talk to each other.
And Sergeant Jordan Shea, he was from Salisbury, Massachusetts. His goal was to meet as many Iraqi kids as he could. And so what he would do is he'd have people ship these little Tonka toy cars, and he'd hand them out to the kids. Well, unfortunately, he got killed in Iraq by IED. So his family kept that legacy going, and they shipped little toy cars to the troops in Iraq. And I happened to get one of those boxes. And so I remember going to an event. We used to on Saturday mornings, we'd go to this field with all the Iraqi Boy Scouts. And I felt like I almost caused a riot because I showed up with all these little cars and everybody's just climbing over each other trying to grab those little cars. And we got a bunch of pictures, and I got to email those pictures back to his mother. And I actually met his mother a couple of years ago, and she was so thrilled that Jordan's legacy continued on in Iraq. And so I was honored to be able to do that.
Captain Patrick Martin shared the story of his friend, Marine Captain Kyle Van de Giesen.
Played against him in high school. We ended up going to the same college together. He was my quarterback in college. He was a Black Hawk pilot, got shot down in Helmand Province in Afghanistan. It was his 3rd tour. He did 2 to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan. Set to come home 2 weeks after he ended up getting shot down. His wife was pregnant at the time with their 2nd kid. She ended up giving birth 4 days after they buried him. But Kyle was one of the greatest kids I've ever met, and probably the best athlete I've ever seen play.
Since 2001, when the United States first sent troops into Afghanistan, more than 850 service members from Massachusetts have been killed or wounded in action there and in Iraq. The soldiers, paralegals, and judge advocates took time to visit Lexington's Minuteman Memorial and to learn more about the battle on April 19, 1775, that began the long road to America's independence from Great Britain. Then they marched along the battle road, where patriots in redcoats came to death grips that fateful day. Howard Helfman, a former Army infantry officer who fought in Vietnam with the 101st Airborne Division, told the 3rd LOD soldiers of the heroism and tragedy that took place nearby.
Well, it definitely set the tone because this is a very sombering area. We had a battle here, people died here, so it definitely set the tone of kind of that sombering effect. And as a soldier, it's important to remember those who sacrificed before us, and because, as Major Fitzpatrick said, we all know what we signed up for, and we may have to go downrange one day if we haven't already. So we just need to be ready for that.
So it's just another way that we are able to honor their sacrifice, their service, their legacy, and make sure that we remember that as we move forward, thanking the service members that are still in today and are the friends and family that allow us to do what it is we do.
Reporting for the U.S. Army Reserve Legal Command, I'm Army Sergeant First Class Rick Scavetta.